So we
ପାଓନିୟରଟା ତ ଚାଲିଛି ଅନିଲ ଭାଇ।
କଣ କହିଲେ?
ପାଓନିୟରଟା ସରିନି ଆହୁରି।
हाँ बट सेटा exactly 4 o'clock रे सरीबो. So we can
Now
start the
exactly 4 o'clock, exactly 1 o'clock.
ନାଇଁ 2 ମିନିଟ୍ ଅଛି।
so we
ପାଓନିୟରଟା ତ ଚାଲିଛି ଅନିଲ ଭାଇ। 2 ମିନିଟ୍ ଅଛି
କଣ କହିଲେ?
ଅନ୍ନପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣା ଆପା।
Okay. Sorry. Hmm. So you are live now on YouTube and एटा I guess एटा कुकु पे आपण sorry अनुपना पे आपणकर येटा की कंप्यूटर की are you sharing? Oh Rajashree. Rajashree Vishwar आपणकर स्क्रीन टा हमें देखि पारछु बर्तमान माने it's all live now. Do you want to show it to everybody now
Yes,
or
you will be
आपण
the first speaker, so it's okay.
Okay.
Put it on presentation mode so that it's bigger and better.
Good. Should we start? Please
Please.
make sure that the other one is finished, so we can wait.
ନା ଆଉ 1 ମିନିଟ୍ ଅଛି still 10:59.
हाँ
Yes,
one.
absolutely, we should wait.
Yeah, I think ଗୋଟେ ମିନିଟ ଜଗିଲେ ଭଲ ହବ।
Right. ଆପଣ ଆଜ୍ଞା ଇଏରେ ପ୍ରେଜେଣ୍ଟେସନ ମୋଡରେ ପକେଇ ଦିଅନ୍ତୁ ସୋ ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ଏଭରିବଡି କ୍ୟାନ୍ ସି ଦ ପ୍ରେଜେଣ୍ଟେସନ ପାର୍ଟ ତଳ ହଁ ନା ନା ପଛକୁ ଯାଆନ୍ତୁ ମୁଁ କହିଦେଉଛି କୋଉଠି ଅଛି ପାୱାର ପଏଣ୍ଟକୁ ଯାଆନ୍ତୁ ପାୱାର ପଏଣ୍ଟ ତଳେ ଯୋଉ ଅଛି ପାୱାର ପଏଣ୍ଟ ଆଇକନଟା ସେଠିକି ଯାଆନ୍ତୁ ଓକେ ଆପଣଙ୍କ ସେ ଯୋଉ ଲେଫ୍ଟ କର୍ଣ୍ଣରରେ ଲେଫ୍ଟ ଟପ୍ କର୍ଣ୍ଣରରେ ଲେଫ୍ଟ ଆରୋ ଗୋଟେ ଅଛି ପ୍ଲିଜ୍ ପ୍ରେସ୍ ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ୱାନ୍ लेफ्ट आरोटा जो अच्छी एकदम ऊपर नहीं होम ऊपर थिला गोटे होम ऊपर गोटे बटन थिला अगेन कैन यू ओपन द पावर पॉइंट ओपन करंतु ओके सो बर्तमान होम ऊपर जो बटन टा अच्छे हाँ बस अच्छा एठी बर्तमान देखंतु गोटे तळे तळे जो स्लाइडिंग बार अच्छी ता पाखरे गोटे बटन टा अच्छी दैट इज माने बेसिकली स्क्रीन गोटे सेते गोटे लागिची सेटा को प्रेस कर दियंतु तळे तळे हाँ स्लाइडिंग बार नहीं स्लाइडिंग बार पाखरे जोटा अच्छी एकदम पाखरे नेक्स्ट हाँ बस सेटा प्रेस कर दियंतु थैंक यू
Annapurna Nani,
Yes.
should we have our videos on or on off mode when others are speaking?
You should speak your video on, so that way it's fine because you are the presenters.
Okay.
अन्य माने जो माने प्रेजेंट करू नांती सेते बेले आपण मानकर म्यूट करके रखंतु समस्त को रिक्वेस्ट होची म्यूट करके रखंतु सो दैट इट डजंट इंटरफियर विथ द प्रेजेंटेशन
Sure, bhai.
It's now 1:02 p.m.
इट्स डन देयर आपण आरंभ करि परिबा अनुपना पा
Namaskar. Welcome to the Women's Forum, OSA 2020. This has been the ubiquitous feature of OSA since its inception in 1969. This year, our theme is Women Are Special, varied life experiences of women from different quarters, different perspectives. In fact, it has taken us 51 years to boldly claim that we are special. With immense capabilities and capacities for taking up responsibility, facing challenges and struggles, and come out successful. We anthropologists know there is a disconnect in every society, between what we preach and what we practice. We come from a culture where we grew up with this saying that Jatra Tishtante Narina, Tatra Tishtante Devata. And I also do not remember any period that this has been the reality. One more saying that I grew up with, my beautiful my memory with my father, that every morning he will be reciting that Panchakanyang smare nityam sarva papa vinashana. Panchakanyas, 5 maidens. In real life, they are all tainted, but they are revered, they are worshipped. But at the same time, you can see the disconnect, the contradiction. And today, that women are, of course, we should not, that in contemporary society, we regale the women's beauty, power, strength in art, sculptures, and images. A good example is the divine feminine. Besides the goddesses, we have kind of, we take pride in 64 yoginis, the Grama Devatis, the divine feminine. But at the same time, interestingly, witch hunt is rampant in Odisha. We have a law to kind of, to condemn or to definitely punish people in the name of witch hunt. But unfortunately, women who speak loud, who stand up for their rights, right away they are admonished and they are branded as witches or loose or kind of, that patita, polluted, so on and so forth. Domestic abuse, dowry, all these we are very, very familiar with. But if we just look at that, definitely women in the Indian culture, the non-Western culture, women, the Shakti, that is very much kind of evident and prevalent. We must remember, we must remind ourselves that even in the global forum, we see that besides the 10-headed Durga, that coming from the Indian culture, that globally it is now proven that women are better leaders than, I don't want to say who, that women are more insightful and they are better leaders. Because if you think of New Zealand Prime Minister and Nancy Pelosi and the Prime Minister of Taiwan, among others, they have proved that their leadership is in respective countries have clearly shown that they have done a far better job in handling crises, multiple crises like Corona in the present times. So today we have brought to you women's identity and women's strength, women's specialness, that through various perspectives, various views, two from Odisha and two in the Indian diaspora. So let me introduce my speakers. The first presentation is by Rajashree Biswal. She is an art historian, and she very proudly says she is the first female art historian from Odisha. And culture, she is on a Fulbright Nehru postdoctoral fellowship here at the University of California, San Diego. She is going to speak on gender, art, and identity, a perspective from Odisha. Rajashree. Rajashree? Is she there?
Can you please unmute Rajashree yourself? It's hard to see here.
Is it visible?
ତାଙ୍କର ନାଁ କ'ଣ ରାଜଶ୍ରୀ ଦେଇଛନ୍ତି ସେଥିରେ? ହଁ, ରାଜଶ୍ରୀ ବିଶ୍ୱାଳ. ଓକେ, ୟା शी इज अनम्यूटेड.
It is not visible though.
Yeah.
Camera is off.
ନାଇଁ, କ୍ୟାମେରା ବି ତାଙ୍କର ଅନ୍ ଅଛି. ଆଚ୍ଛା, ଓକେ ଓକେ, ଆପଣ ସେଇ ସ୍କ୍ରିନରେ ରହିଥାନ୍ତୁ, ସେଇ ସ୍କ୍ରିନରେ ରହିଥାନ୍ତୁ. ଆଇ ୱିଲ୍ ଗାଇଡ୍ ୟୁ ଥ୍ରୁ. ନାଇଁ ନାଇଁ, ଯୋଉ ସ୍କ୍ରିନରେ ଯାଇଥିଲେ ସେଇ ସ୍କ୍ରିନରେ ଯାଆନ୍ତୁ. ଆଇ ୱିଲ୍ ଗାଇଡ୍ ୟୁ ଥ୍ରୁ.
Yeah.
So she is unmuted and she's supposed to have the video too, but बोधे कंप्यूटर रे जदी किछ प्रॉब्लम होची, मे बी आपण फोन रे ट्राई करिवे कि अन्य किछि और कंप्यूटर को रिस्टार्ट करिवे. समटाइम्स दैट हेल्प्स.
Actually, I
Yeah, she's here, I think.
Okay, now we can see.
But
Please.
my slides are differently like disabled.
Don't worry, just go ahead and speak.
Okay.
If you can see your
Okay.
slides, just please go ahead and present.
Okay. I can't see anybody otherwise. I can't
Don't
see
worry,
anything.
just look at the screen.
Okay. Okay. The slide is also not visible. Anyway, so first of all, I would like to express my thankfulness to all the organizers of OSA and especially to Professor Annapurna Pandey Panigrahi. So, and also to my co-panelists and audience and viewers. So it's a great opportunity for me to speak on this occasion of OSA's Women's Forum. And as the title of my topic goes, art, gender, art and identity, a perspective from Odisha. So I would keep limit my understanding to feminist position as well as to Odisha, considering the less time available for this occasion. And before delving deep into my topic, I would like to reflect and also invite all of us to reflect to what extent we have really come forward so far as the idea of feminism and equality of women is concerned. So I think a very visible and perspective make us understand definitely we have come a long way, starting from the first wave feminism of the voting rights to the second wave, the radical gender politics, to the third wave, the fluid gender identity, to the fourth wave, and inclusive politics of gender and feminism. But at the same time, a commonsensical perspective again reveal from our everyday life experiences and grounded realities that we are deeply entrenched with the patriarchal values in our society and in our consciousness, and that is again the dominant value of the construction or the normative structure of the male, the white, and the heterosexual paradigm of human life. So definitely we have to go a long way considering the idea of gender and feminism in concern. And hope this is a small seed again towards that. And we have been working and we have to work a lot in this direction. So coming to the topic of my discussion, and in the first section, I invoked the idea of relooking into our Sakta tradition of Odishan art. So when the Sakta tradition emerged in Odisha as a kind of parallelism to the Brahminical tradition and in the pre-Gupta period, and the mother cult or the Saptamatrika tradition also evolved, which is again is a personification of womanhood and feminine identity, and the Yogini cult also, which is embodying the 64 aspect of feminine power, and with its the right to emotion, right to different kind of emotions like the anger, the jealousy, the hatred, and also to the right to spirituality. So and I think there is also a spillover of this feminine and the Sakta tradition in our public domain through different kind of popular culture. So my argument in this section is that definitely we have to relook our very strong tradition and ongoing art practice and different kind of domain of arts, like even including the folk as well as the popular art along with the ancient art tradition. And it is a great source of inspiration for the women and the larger society, because there are already some kind of subjectivity and agency of women is present in the time in our history and culture, and right to knowledge, to have a very distinct personality, and also beyond the male gaze the construction has happened. All we can see through different slides like the Barahi image, and which is a very
Can you
distinct
click on your
embodiment of
slides?
woman.
You can
Pardon?
click on you can click on your slides, because we see only the ones. Yeah, good.
Okay.
Great.
Okay,
Now we
and
can
then
see.
we can see the Vaishnavi image, the Saptamatrika. Again, very distinct in emotion, physiognomy is there, but at the same time, it's to a great extent one can see it's beyond the male gaze. and then the 64 yoginis, as we had already talked about the 64 embodiments of feminine power, and Chamunda, which is signifying the possibility of spirituality of women. And this is the spillover of the Shakti cult in the popular culture. So then coming into the domain of contemporary art practice, so I would like to see the artwork of two very important women artists of Odisha. One is Helen Brahma and the other is Diana Mahapatra. So the distinct strategy of Helen Brahma is to engage with the idea of womanhood, feminine and tradition in articulation of her own identity. What she has done, she has borrowed the, one can see the here the symbol of the yogini or the specific deity embodied by the Bahana, uh, and uh, and she has embellished the specific bahana again with the traditional Sambalpuri textile of Odisha. So in one way she is reinscribing the tradition in multiple layers, and at the same time she is invoking a kind of parallelism between the animal as well as the divine. So in a way, I think it's a very distinct way of identity formation through her own artwork. And here it is signifying the Sashti Devi. And then we can go to the next slide. It is the crab is symbolizing the Karkara Yogini. And then this parrot is symbolizing Sri Aditi Yogini. So all these animals and birds, they are symbolizing different kind of yoginis. So what is significant here is the parallelism she is trying to draw between the animalistic is animal symbolizing the divine, which is, I think it's a very significant gesture towards ecofeminism also, and keeping in mind the kind of brutal approach of human civilization towards nature, and also re-invoking the tradition in multiple layers to construct her own identity through her own visual expression, and also giving a new identity to Odishan art and culture and feminine and womanhood. So then coming to the next artwork of Dinah Mahapatra, again, I thematized her work as the body is the battleground and identity formation through engaging with the self and the normative. So I think very distinct approach and strategy of Dinah Mahapatra. So first, she has very distinct interplay with herself along with her alter ego. And secondly, she is trying to rescue herself from the male gaze as well as mediatic construction of women. One can see here it is the bald-headedness representation of her own self in many of her works. And thirdly, she is interplaying with different kind of tradition and societal structures of women in India and Odisha in specific. So in different artworks, she has engaged and make her own visual statements very clearly. So this is the work titled The Conundrum of the Self-Impelled. So Conundrum of the Self-Impelled, she herself is turned into Hiranyakashipu, and her alter ego, as one can see, the Narasingha avatar. So there is a constant dialogue between her own self, what means it's a negotiation of multiple complexities of her deeper socio-psychological processes, but again, it's giving her own self, the self, rather than depending on the external agency, the other patriarchal LSC. From her own self, she is deriving in inspiration, and also at the same time deconstructing her own ego. Then coming to the twilight in a virgin beach, again she is in a solitary mood along, she's sitting on the again her alter ego as her bahana, and she is in a isolation, and in that moment she is playing with the Ganjifa tradition of Odisha. So it's a very deep somber state of mind, and relating to her own root of Odisha. And then coming to the next slide, rational usurper 2. So again, she is questioning about the very structure of society as well as the idea of marriage in Odishan society. So one can see again actually see, it's not like that she's completely free from and completely want to destroy all the structures, but at the same time there are many other situations, circumstances that make her to think, is it important also, see, can she not support herself being her own alter ego as her own the bride and the bridegroom herself. And this is very strong statement. And the other thing is migrating marriage. So this is talking about her struggle as an artist. She tries to look the distant horizon, to what extent it will be possible for herself to struggle and to be an artist in this present society in India, and the kind of challenges she is to face. And also in the process is in invoking different kind of socio-psychological processes and sexualities within her own self, and hinting towards autoeroticism, you can say, in the diptych work. So but at the same time we can see all the bald-headedness representation in all her artwork. So the other work, another interesting and significant work, Aham Sat, I am the truth. So again, going back and referring to the tradition of the memory of the three monkeys, which Gandhiji has preached, not to think, not to listen, and not to see bad things or untrue things. But at the same time, she questions herself what exactly the truth is. And so far as Gandhi's life is concerned, and the other women he was relating with and relating to, and so far as the chastity, the idea of chastity and the idea of celibacy, and also which Gandhi has experimented with, and at the same time what was the position of women in that kind of situation and context.
One
So
more minute,
yeah,
Rajashree.
yeah, and then I would like to say so I think very interesting engagement of Diana Mahapatra, summarizing it as her journey as semi-autobiographical in nature, again challenging many social constructs of Odisha and India in a broader sense. Then the last phase I would like to conclude, like, is feminism still a relevant paradigm to engage with our present life and through art? Yes. So my answer is definitely yes. So far as any form of injustice, sexism, sexual violence, and any kind of discrimination is present in our society, in any both developing and developed society, definitely feminism is an imperative towards achieving the larger human value. And we can definitely depend on the intersectional feminism at the interface of race, gender, class, caste, ethnicity, religion, and other kind of different socio-political and psychological experiences of women and of the society in a larger sense. So thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Rajashree. It's
Yeah,
been
yeah,
so illuminating, so educational, so enlightening that you are
yeah.
talking about the women's art or women in art, that representation from the history, mythology to the present time. And what a beautiful way that kind of, for us to see the art, especially from these women's artists' point of view,
Yeah.
not only just kind of, talking about the coexistence of
Yeah.
divine, animality, and human, and also now restructuring, questioning the idea of the norm, and
Yeah.
restructuring the normative gender role. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Rajashree.
Thank you so much, madam. But I can't see anybody. So if you kindly help me.
You can help when I'm introducing my next speaker.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you so much.
Next
Thank you.
speaker is Pankaja Sethi. She is a textile designer, she's a young budding textile designer from Odisha. The sari that Madam President Kukudas is wearing, she does designing, and she is marketing and promoting the Dongaria Kandha textile design. So, and she works among these weavers in these tribes, artist and researcher working with the Adivasi women and weavers of Odisha over 10 years. Interestingly, when one of the scholars asked her from America, why don't you come and do a PhD? She said, what will happen to my 1,300 women who are dependent on me? Here is Pankaja. She is going to talk about the voices of the weavers from different regions of Odisha, which we might not have even heard of, that we may be wearing their saris, and the textile we may be using, we may not be knowing. Pankaja, the floor is yours.
Please unmute karantu Pankaja.
Pankaja is on the phone. She's in Odisha. You can imagine it's already 2 a.m. for her.
Hello everyone. We can see.
Yeah. Good. Oh, we can see you.
Yes, I can see you and I can hear you. Hello everyone, and thank you, Rajeshri, and thank you, Dr. Pandey, and thank you everybody for giving me the platform. I hope you can hear me clearly. So my journey is very weird because I got into textile designing, and after working some years, in Delhi, I got fed up, working in this export houses, making cushion covers and bed covers. I thought I'm made for something better, and then I got an opportunity to work with Bihar and Santhal, and then I decided to come back to my state, and I started exploring some of the indigenous weave. I wanted to see the woman, and I wanted to see in the craft. So the first area I started was the Niyamagiri Hills. Somebody said, you can't go there. I said, if you stop me, I'll definitely go over there. So that's what my challenge. That was 2006 February. I went to Niyamagiri Hills. I met Dongria Kond women. And then then I got I got a project by the government. Why don't you work with them? Because you have already taken the challenge, gone to the hills and, met them. Everybody talks about brain malaria, many things, Naxals, but I managed to go there. So during, while talking, researching and talking to women, language was a barrier. So I don't see that was a difficulty. In fact, that was the boon, because we use different body gestures. We use language, we use fingers and sign language. I used to point things, and that's how we learn together. In the process, I learned, these, because coming from a design background, there is something more to design. There is a language beyond design. And that's how my research started. I used to point things, and they used to tell me. I used to start writing motifs. I used to start writing motifs, with the meanings and everything. And then my research obviously became deeper and deeper. And then I realized the textile, the kapra gonda, woman, the embroider, this actually talks about the Niyamagiri Hills. It is a kind of a resistance. It is their intangible relation with the nature, how Adivasi live in harmony with nature, which we in city, we don't understand. So this is what I realized. And I slowly become a self-taught anthropologist without any degree in anthropology. So material culture fascinated me, people fascinated me, that's how I got into intricacies. So the circular patterns, what you see in the textiles in Kapra Goda, they're the eyes of the goddess. So they say this is Kanka, and she is protecting the cloth. Unfortunately, I did not prepare. I have loads of photos, but I had no idea that Zoom also has a possibility of sharing, but I can share some of the images as I talk. And then obviously that's how my travel started. And we know the Kond women have been fighting for their land, against tampering of the land, and the land is very, very sacred to them. And the cloth is woven by a Dom Dalit weaver who lives in Raigada in Bisam Katak. He is the last weaver. He must be in late 60s. And so he weaves, and the Dongria Kond woman weaves. And that's how the local societies, one caste is dependent on each other. But we also know that when one community finishes, the other community, the caste or the craft also finishes. This was my research comes between 2000 to 2014, that on the Dongria Kond, I have like a very long period of research work. I got Tata Fellowship on this 2012 to 13, and then a gist of it, only 1200 words were published in Imaging Odisha book. And 2007, I helped one Dongria Kond woman, because I always thought women are very, very important. They play a significant role in textile, but they are never recognized. So I recommended her name to Delhi Crafts Council. So one child artisan, I got her from the hills, took permission, whatever it could take, all the difficult things, and she went to Delhi and she got the Kamala Devi Child Artisan Award. That was 2007. Yeah. So the next tribe I would talk about, the Gadaba Adivasi. Nobody knows about them. They are not categorized as primitive or indigenous, but there are only two women who you make bark cloth. Nobody knows that Odisha has 3 examples of bark cloth. So one is the Gadaba, one is the Bonda. We all fascinate about ikat, which is nice, but nobody talks about the bark cloth. And they used to make it on a small loom and in blue and red, vertical stripes to cheat the tiger, so that women could wear these 2 pieces of cloth called kirang, and they can cheat the tiger and go hunting. And that's how these beautiful myths are. These fascinate me. And while doing my field work, one man said, our language, Gutop died. And that is why I think Kirangs, also died. It's such a very strong language. I follow peace sign arts very, very strongly. The voices of weavers, voices of people, the voices of rural India. So probably he's saying, what I understand, that's the law of the nature. When one species died, the another species, which is also interdependent on it, it also dies. So I documented the last phase of bark cloth, Kerang, supported by Sahapedia UNESCO Fellowship. That was 2017-18. I'm doing basically not getting into detail. I'm just going. So whoever asks question, I'll definitely answer question. You can also get back to me. Then the third, I was talking about the Panika woman. We all know, talk about Kotpad. So the Kotpad textiles, we call it tribal, but the people are actually Panika caste, and they weave for tribal communities. And the beautiful weave, the color is actually made by women. It takes around 30 days of vigorous work, kneading with cow dung, castor oil, vigorous work, but they don't get any recognition. Imagine. So I had this 2 years back, I had recommended one woman, one child artisan award again to Delhi Craft Council. Let's highlight them. Let's give them award, because there are only 40 women in Kotpad who are dyeing it, and most of them are 60 plus. So obviously sooner or later, this will also die. And this is a very rare, very, very rare indigenous tradition, which is only in Odisha, nowhere else in the world. And this maroon color is world famous. Nobody produces this rich color. So this was a Nehru Trust for Victoria Albert Museum supported me in 2009. Okay, then I'm almost finished. So then I would
2 minutes you have, yeah. And you
Pardon?
can in the chat, you can share your email, but please go
I
ahead.
can share some images which I did. I recently showed my work at Nairobi as my textile art. So I would like to share that. I don't know whether it goes. That talks about flaming womb. So I talked about how yoni is basically.
Yes, we can see it.
You can see. Okay, so I don't know how to next. I'll start. Yeah. So I'm slightly learning. This is for the first time. So I basically showcased my textile artwork in Nairobi recently on feminism, talking about sexuality, how yoni, or basically genital, what we talk about yoni in very nicely, but nobody talks about it. I talked about, I questioned it, like the woman you worship, you're actually controlling in the real society, and she is facing so much of violence. So I made like 4 by 9 feet huge artwork. I carried all the way from Bhubaneswar to Nairobi and showcase. It was supported by United Nations Population Fund, and that was a wonderful experience. 2018, I showcased a huge artwork 4 by 18, reflection of nature and time, how everything changes with time. And 2018, I showcased indigenous weaves of Odisha at Lucknow Fashion Week in Odisha, rural Odisha drapes, the Gadwa drape, the Dongria contreme, and it was really appreciated. So my life, my work is more basically a journey, a travel. I am not very fixed. I do my textile artwork, I do my stories, and the stories, design, and craft fascinates me. That's how it is. Design people say, oh, you have moved to anthropology, you are not a designer anymore. The research people say, oh my God, you're a designer, you don't belong here. So everybody just moves me, chases me here. So I don't know where I am.
Pankaja,
Yeah.
why don't you say one sentence about the workshops you do to promote the women in these villages? that
Yeah,
yeah.
I do a lot of design workshops, self-expression workshops. I have been doing this workshop to like empower them through colors and designs, giving them paperwork. What you imagine, how can you know use these colors and create that? And sometimes also folding their eyes, listen to the music and create pattern on this. So I have been doing the small exercise to empower people and also to build their motivation. So this time also, yeah.
Thank you, Pankaja, so much. And please
Thank you.
share your email if anybody is interested, that they can
Yes,
contact you. Thank you,
yes.
Pankaja, so much. It is just, it has been a beautiful journey with you and knowing you, that I feel
Thank
very
you.
fortunate. Each one of you here as presenters inspire me. You all are my teachers and mentors. Thank you. So let's move to the third speaker, Netra Chauhan. She is one of us in the Bay Area. She lives here in the Northern California. Netra works as the virtual immigration support. You all must have heard about the kind of, and I'm sure here that we all are very familiar with the issue of that women who come as dependents, children as dependents, that called the H4 visa. And she has been really raising a voice. She has been an activist through her own work that helped thousands of H visa holders from India, and will speak on America's women on H visa. Netra Chauhan.
Hello everyone. So let me first connect my file. I hope I am able to do it. Even I'm doing this for the first time. Am I audible?
Yes, very well.
Yeah. So are you able to see my file?
No.
Wow. Okay. Yes.
Not yet. So there is a share screen button, the green button in the bottom, if you are doing it from
Yeah.
your computer.
Yeah, I'm doing it from my computer. I just selected the share screen and it says your entire screen, and I click on share, but it's still not showing.
Okay.
So
You can go to that particular app then, whatever you're using.
Yeah. Otherwise, you have to do without your slides.
yeah. Wow. Okay.
Oh,
The last one, actually, if you have couple of things on your screen, then select the one you want to share and then put the share.
You have to keep your PowerPoint open, Netra.
Yeah,
You have to keep it open on your laptop. Now
yeah,
I think you are sharing. Okay.
no, but this is my entire screen I'm sharing, or how is it?
Yeah, you have to share your entire screen, and then I think your PowerPoint will pop up, and you just have to click that. I'm also very technical.
Yeah, I mean, I have been doing Zoom meetings, but I've never shared the screen as such.
There was a message which said that it is too big to preview.
Oh, okay. So
No,
please
that was
go ahead then. Go ahead and present if you don't mind without the slides.
And that's fine. I will open it at my end. Okay.
Sorry
So
about
first
that.
of all, no problem. It's absolutely fine. So first of all, let me say thank you to Ms. Annapurna and Odisha Society of America organization for providing me this platform and giving me an opportunity to present my topic, America's Women on H Visa, and help spread the word overall. So, what kind of H visas are there? So, there are kind of, we can say, H1B work visas. Then there are H4 visas. So, H1B work visas are basically for the people or the women who can travel to US on H1B work visa, where to pursue their dreams, to work, where she can actually has to balance between the professional and the personal life at the same time. And H visas is, I mean, H4 visas is given to the dependent of that H1B visa, where H4 visa is for the spouses or it can be for the children under 21 years of age, and also for the kids who are born outside USA. So with regards to that, validity is very important. Once you enter the country on H-1B visa or H-4 visa, visa extension applications becomes the prior importance, or a kind of a challenge nowadays, or constraint nowadays, because the kind of time processing it is taking. When you enter the country, you will be giving a particular validity time. Now this validity time, it can be 3 years or 2 years depending on your contract, and later on this validity period is about to get expired. So that is the time when you apply for visa extension of application for all your yourself on H-1B visa or on your H-4 visa. But the constraint here is nowadays the processing time. Sometimes the time period for getting the approved new extension is 15 days, or it can be beyond 240 days as well. So there are two things that usually happens. One is where you are authorized to work, so you can authorize to work on the pending status for 240 days, or you are authorized to work, you are authorized to stay beyond 8 months on H-1B, and H-4 visa. You are authorized to stay whenever there is a pending status. So now the decision will come in that 15 days, 8 months, or for H-4 visas, or the women or spouses on H-4 visas, the pending decision is beyond 1 year as well. So it's a very uncertain situations happens, and people are in a very deep stress. So either the decision for your extension can be approval, or it can be denial. So if it is approval, everything fine, you continue in US. If it is denial, please pack your bags and leave the country. So the other thing is, once you get an approval, you have an option from the employer whether you want to get into green card or permanent residence application or not, on the path to permanent residency. So here H-4 visa applicants, once your spouse is on the green card or path to permanent residency, H-4 visa applicants have can apply for H-4 EAD now, because previously when you enter in H-4 you are not authorized to work in the country. So now once you are on a path to green card or path to permanent residency, you can apply for H-4 EAD only if your spouse or if your H-1B holder has I-140 approved, or they are on the pending status of getting I-140 approved. But the major thing here is, I can say, the fear that is going on between the kids of this H-4 and H-1B visa holders. So the kids, as you know, that they are obviously growing day by day. So I would like to read the note which was there in my slide here. So it clearly says that H-1B worker born in India, please note, H-1B workers born in India are stuck on green card line for decades due to country limit quota. After arriving legally in the country, H-1B visa holders' children grow up here, attend the US schools, attend universities, but on their 21st birthday, they fear to lose their own legal H-4 status, as the US law requires them to self-deport, that is, leave the country, if they cannot find another temporary legal status, or if in case if in case their parents are not issued green card. So this fear is a lot in all the H-4 kids right now. So I had the few other slides which gave an example of there was an example where Janvi was there, and Janvi was saying that she's turning 21 years next year, and she will be not issued, I mean, she will have to leave the country because she will be turning 21 and she is on H4 visa. There is this another little kid who is Shravani, and you can find all these once you Google maybe H4 visa holders or legal dreamers on the Google images. So there is one more, sorry. So there is another Shravani. She says that she cannot even select medical education just because she is on H4 visa. And there is one more image which says that this Jyotik is there. So Jyotik says that he since he is on H4 visa, he cannot even go ahead with loans and scholarship. So there are a lot of challenges if you are in as a legal dreamer and for the new generation in case you are waiting. So now this all happens inside the country. Now let's talk something which is already happening outside the country right now. So visa stamping application becomes very important if you visit your home country for some reason. Maybe an emergency situation happens in your family and you want to visit India. The second situation can be maybe you want to visit some occasion in India, family wedding or self wedding. If you go for that, you need a visa stamping if the visa is expired on your passport.
Netra, just 2 minutes, please.
Sure. So, what is going on right now is because of the COVID-19 situation, US embassies are closed since March 20, and this is happening because for last 4 months, 3 to 4 months, the entire H visa community is stuck outside the country. Now, on 22nd June 22nd 2020, an executive order was passed by the US government where the spouses on and kids of H1B and H4 visa who do not have a visa stamped on their passport, they are banned to enter into the country and they cannot return to their job and home in USA. Now they have been in the country but they cannot just return. Now their kids are focusing on various issues like they have to undergo possibly vaccinations,
1 minute.
medical checkups, therapies, etc., but things are just not moving. So the solution to this is usually I am here because of your platform. I'm able to raise the voice for H4 community, H1B community, and um, and help us raise the bring the awareness. At the same time, support Bill S386. If you are an American citizen, please call Senator Durbin's office and request him to remove the hold that he has put. And as you see, every day the people are facing lot of challenges. So after all, a woman on H visa is a female human being too. It not just America's H visa holder. So please help me spread the voice. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Netra. You are doing an amazing job that for my sisters to know, sisters and brothers and my relatives here on this forum to know that you did not mention you are the founder, president of H1B, H4 Facebook group with 100,000 members. So, and the way that you are spreading the word, that you are the activist, that you are working, you have become the voice of these members that everybody should know, should commend your work and should join hands. Thank you.
Sure, thank
Now our next presenter, she is one of our youngsters and one of our own in our community, Sapna Adhikari Rath. She has a master's in computer science and currently she works at Cisco. And she will speak on the impact of society on mental health based on her own journey, her experience, a woman's perspective, that how that women are branded, that whether kind of what sort of mental trauma that women go through and how society can help us maybe to solve that problem. Thank you. And Sapna, the floor is yours. Is Sapna there?
Yeah, I'm trying to share my screen.
Can you? Because you are the, have you been made the co-host? I think so, yes.
Am I?
Yeah, no, you are not co-host, but you can share the screen. Yeah.
Okay.
And in the meantime, people are asking you questions on the chat. Please do share your thoughts on the chat, because everybody is putting questions and comments on the chat. My presenters, please do respond to that.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Namaskar. I'm a proud Oriya, and it is my great privilege to have had the opportunity of this platform to converse with all of you today. To begin with, let me introduce myself to my community. This is Sapna Adhikari Ratha for you all. I hail from Bhubaneswar, been born and brought up in a very progressive nuclear household of four. My schooling was from Stuart School, and I have done my master's in computer science and currently working for Cisco. Now, having said that, I would also like to believe that I am basically a globe trotter and hence have traveled 17 countries till date, which has sure enough been an enriching experience to me and also immensely helped me getting an insight of the world around us. Having got to stay in Middle East, Singapore, and now in US, I have actively been associated with our community in different geographies on a global platform. I am a proud OSA member today and love the great work that our leaders are doing, creating a home away from home for all of us. Thank you, Ms. Annapurna Pandey and Odisha Society of America for giving me this opportunity. Having said that, today I'm absolutely excited to be a part of this event, and let's get into the skin of a very relevant challenge that has been thriving amidst us since ages, but it's time for it to get its due. We often want to practice the saying, don't let people pull you into their storm, instead pull them into your peace. But we fail to follow this for the immense pressure that we have in today's day and age. There is no seconding to the fact that we are all battling this in our everyday lives, but very few of us admit it, or in case we do, show it on our face. I would like to talk about impact of society on mental health from a woman's perspective. Now, there are several factors affecting us. After I give away my thoughts today, I may be tagged as a feminist, but I would like to believe that my community is definitely a place where I can be myself and speak unapologetically and unabashedly on behalf of my clan. Let's hear to the voice of the noise in a woman's mind. That takes me to my next slide. So
Can
first,
you do the presentation mode, Sapna, please?
sure.
Make it full screen presentation. Yeah. Yeah, you please go ahead when you are doing that.
Is it okay now?
No, okay, yeah, yes, perfect.
Thank you.
Sapna.
Okay, so my first point here is there is no doubt that in this, so to say, progressive society, women are still more answerable to gender biased societal norms. It could be starting from how you dress, to how you talk, to whether you can cook and take care of your family. On a personal front, one is expected to fulfill the duties of a daughter, a sister, a mother, a daughter in law, so on and so forth, with as much sincerity and perfection as she is expected to deliver and meet timeline expectations at her workplace. It is not easy at all, and needless to say, it takes a toll on her health, both physical as well as mental. Secondly, I would like to say and highlight as a woman, we have some age specific goals to achieve. As goes the old saying, motherhood completes a woman. Now, is it true? That we need to think. And if so, then my question to you all is what completes a man? Think about it. Thirdly, As I have been an expat for the past 11 years, I have stayed in, as I mentioned earlier, Middle East, Singapore, and now in US, we often get to hear it from our extended family that life abroad is like living your dream. It's like your big dream coming true, but this certainly comes with great responsibility. When you are away from your country or your hometown, the burden of your lineage being misinterpreted as a result of your actions can happen with a slight turn of your head. It is that easy, you know. Hence, your social conduct becomes of utmost importance as you're trying to rebuild your image from your grassroots level. This takes me to my next point. It adds to the fact that the journey from a nobody to a somebody in a foreign land doesn't come easy at all. You are constantly trying to fit in, you are trying to put in that extra effort to be accepted in the community that you are a part of, because your social acquaintance is very, very small, and it means the world to you, because as human beings, we are all social animals after all. So a lot of times you are not true to your soul as you fear your ostracization from the community. You being vocal might lead to your name doing rounds the next morning, so you hold back your horses. But sometimes you are not able to do that, isn't it? Next, it goes without saying that it is always easier to discuss your neighbor's life than your own. So that leads to putting a happy face and brushing under the carpet attitude that prevails in the community. A lot of women face physical as well as verbal abuse, which is a hush-hush topic to be discussed openly. Thus, they are left with these mental battles creating havoc in the mind. And finally, how do we forget about employment challenges, which my colleague just discussed? We face these employment challenges when it comes to the ever-changing visa rules for spouses. There are hundreds and thousands of such stories that we get to hear from our community as well as from our nationals. Women from very good educational background who migrate here with family are sometimes stuck at home, or they are left with no options to explore due to the unavoidable visa situations. That takes me to my next slide. Very, very important, guys. Needless to say, with all the above factors in place, the current pandemic, oh my God, it has worsened the whole scenario. These are definitely unprecedented times, which has aggravated the situation. It is not easy to battle it on a personal front. And what is more tough is to battle out your mind. As it says, it all begins in the mind. Society definitely plays a very, very major role in building up to mental depression, as it shakes up the mental balance of an individual to the core. It is time we all, as an evolved society, must focus on mental health as much as we focus on physical health. So, can we think of some baby steps that we can do at least to help our clan and our community? What I can think of, I can just point out as follows. Number one should not be judged in a community for speaking your mind. Definitely not. As a community, we need to be more empathetic towards each other. And as a society, we need to reflect on our role in making or breaking a person's mental health, because it's very, very important, guys. Second, community talks and meets. We all attend community talks and meets. We do a lot of it, but it must not only be limited to social and festive gatherings, but need to be beyond, and that should be helping in addressing these real life challenges that we all must have faced at some point in time in our lives. And last but not the least, very important, I personally feel that societal expectations from women are in a way self-defined and imposed. So they are all man-made, they are all, I would like to say, human-made, so they are deep-rooted in a child's upbringing. Hence, early life education needs to be structuralized with more life skills that would help the kids as they grow up. So friends, that is all that I have for now, and would end it with a thought that we all grow up to be a progressive and a more empathetic community as a whole. Thank you all for listening to me. Namaskar.
Great talk, Sapna. Thank you so much. You said
Thank you, Nani.
points.
Thank you, Sapna, so much. Always the youngest and the most refreshing. So it's beautifully said, and I'm sure as the community members, we have such an important role to play, because the issues which have been hussed up and which have been just shoved under the rug, that and if anybody speaks up, is looked upon as a defiant, as a deviant. I think it's time that we need to acknowledge it, and we need to do something about it, rather than just focusing on the so-called positive and pointing a finger at our neighbor, not worrying about our own issues, and not even discussing, not having a positive conversation, rather than always it is becomes a pointing a finger. So beautifully said. We have couple more minutes. I'm asking the audience, if you have any question, that here the presenters are here in front of you, please feel free to ask any question. You can put it on the chat, so that way we can share. Anybody? Well, so we just have 1 minute. I want to wind up and thank you again, all my presenters. Thank you for all the audience. Bigani, you are there, and I know so many women leaders are here, my sisters, my brothers, and I am so proud of you all. That thank you for being part of this venture, this journey. It's a never-ending journey. This journey does not end. We are part of it, but let's celebrate our womanhood and just give ourselves a pat on the back, on the front, saying we are special. Thank you so much.
Annapurna,
Thank you, Annapurna.
just one question is, can you share the contact details of
Yeah, could you
Sapna
put
also?
on the chat? Could you please put all your contact details? That will be great. And these are amazing women you have already met. Please share your contact details.
Thanks for coordinating, Annapurna.
Pankaja has already done, and Pankaja, and Netra, she has, and Sapna. Then we have Rajashri. Rajashri, would you mind? She is here in San Diego till August. Her Fulbright tenure ends, and if only flights are available, she will go back. Otherwise, she will be part of the cloud.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And I have shared my mail ID.
Okay,
And
good.
thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Anil, I hope you are happy that we stuck to the time.
Oh, absolutely. I cannot thank you enough. Thank you, Annapurna Appa. Thanks to everybody. Yeah, upon special kotle, you are definitely special. So special.
All of us, including you.
Thank you. So we'll have to move now for the next event then.
So for those joining via Zoom, so we'll now switch over to YouTube shortly for a 30 minutes quick video by juniors for OSA Talent, and then we'll be back on the same line for our exciting series of kids speaking in Odia about Odisha's rich heritage and culture. Odisha Kala o Aishwarya.
Kala o Bhaskarya.
Okay. या परटा YouTube एंड ता परटा होची पुनी थरे Zoom रे आसीबा आधा घंटा पर Zoom रे आसीबा
ना बर्तन ए Zoom टा माने बंद हला तो
हां बंद करूची बर्तन समस्त को आथरे देखा हबो रहउची ताले बंद करूची ताले